welcome. My name is Blair. I am an artist. I run an Instagram account, Acrylic and Canvas, and I also have my own website. It is Acrylic and Canvas Fine Art. I've been an artist for, I hate to give away my age, but maybe about 25 years now. I wanted to do just kind of like a little bit of an instructional video today. I'm going to be using art resin, which is something I'm sure if you guys follow me, you've heard me talk about before. It's a great product. It has no VOCs. It's food friendly. The website is so informational. They have videos. They have a resin calculator. Like, this is the most friendly resin that is out there, and I love it. So when they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do a video, I jumped at the opportunity. And also, I find that a lot of times in the art community, people don't want to share the products that they use. And I find that a little bit discouraging. So I'm happy to do a video. I'm happy to show you my techniques. And let's get started. Okay, so I have pre-measured my little cups. I went on the website for Art Resin. I used the Art Resin calculator. I found out that I needed like an ounce of resin, and that's half and half of both products. You do equal ratio for Art Resin. I went ahead and pre-measured these cups. You really don't want to use Art Resin in a measuring cup. You will not be able to get it clean. You're pretty much gonna have to trash it. So what I like to do is I have one measuring cup that I use, and I'll mark, like, I'll fill it with whatever amount I need, whether it be an ounce or 8 ounces. I'll fill it with water, pour water in a cup, mark where the line is, and I'll do it for both cups. I didn't in this case. And that way I know that my measurements are accurate and I'm saving my measuring cup. So what I'm simply gonna do is just mix both of these pieces in one clear little cup. Now, Art Resin specifically tells you that you've got to mix for about 3 minutes, and that is true. You want to make sure that you get all the resin product out of both cups, and also whatever you're using to mix your resin with, as soon as you're done mixing, you want to trash it. You don't want to spread your resin with that tool. You've got to think of it as, let me just time myself here. You've got to think of it as baking. Like if you were to use your spatula to stir your bowl, mix all your ingredients. By the time you took your spatula out, you might have like some residue from the sugar or some residue from the flour. Like your spatula is not mixed to the right consistency. And that same principle applies to whatever you use to make the resin with. I'll kind of get in here and zoom in a little bit. You can see I've got lots of bubbles. The product is mixing very nicely. And the thing is, you do have to worry about bubbles when you do art resin, but not while you're mixing. Just ignore them. You're gonna get them. Doesn't matter. When you put it on your piece, a lot of them are gonna go away automatically. And those that don't, you're simply gonna use your resin torch to get those bubbles out. You can also use, I've used a needle before to pop bubbles, whichever you prefer. I definitely like using a torch. I have different sized torches, but I'm doing such a small piece that I'm using an actual torch I got from the Art Resin website when I first started doing resin. It's very similar to what you would use in the kitchen. It doesn't have, a huge flame on it. And that, I feel like, is probably the best type of torch for you to use, especially if you're a beginner. It's a little bit safer, and you just never want to scorch your resin. So I'm gonna mix this for 3 minutes. I think I've already been mixing it 2 minutes, so I'm almost done. And then as soon as I'm done, I'll toss my stick and I will go ahead and start to spread it. Once I spread the resin, I've got about 30 minutes to work with it. If you are in an area that is hot, you're gonna have less time. I recommend always doing resin inside. just because you can kind of control the environment. You can keep dust away from it. You can keep bugs. I have done a couple projects outside, and while I do like having the fresh air and working outside, I don't like gnats and I don't like just little things that float around outside. I mean, I live in the South, so right now it's pollen season, the very beginning of it. And so I would never want to do anything outside and get that residue stuck on my artwork. It's very difficult to get off. And we've reached 3 minutes. So remember, this stick, toss. Don't need it. Want a brand new one to spread your resin out. A little tip, I kind of always mix a little more resin than I probably should, just for any miscalculations I made on measuring a piece. And I'd rather have too much resin than not enough resin, and trying to spread it out and get these gaps. Now, resin is self-leveling, so you do not have to worry about that. But if you don't have enough resin to cover your piece, you're gonna be able to tell. So that resin calculator on the Art Resin website is super important. Make sure you do it. Don't try to guess. And I start off by pouring it just in the center of the piece. And like I said, I always leave a little bit of resin left over. And you can see that it's created a circle, and it will kind of stay there until I move it and work it around. This particular piece, like I said, is a piece of Yupo paper that I mounted onto a wooden panel. Now this is a multimedia piece, but the main, I guess, medium, that I used was alcohol ink. Now, you do not have to seal your work before you use the art resin, but if you're one of those people that just feels like you have to varnish it before, use Kamar varnish. It's an easy light spray on varnish. Nothing's gonna happen to your piece. I've never had a problem varnishing something and then resin in it, and I've never had a problem when I resin a piece of artwork like this, which is on Yupo paper, which is a synthetic paper. This is why I tell you this, because the way it absorbs is quite different from a regular sheet of paper. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take this craft stick and I'm just gonna spread my resin out. Go ahead and start working on my piece. You have about 30 minutes to work on your piece, and that should give you enough time, especially on a small piece like this, to get out any bubbles or any imperfections that you might see on your piece. I like to just kind of slide everything with a popsicle stick. You can certainly use a piece of plastic, rubber scraper, your gloves, whatever you want to use to spread out your resin. I would just recommend that it be something very clean and something that you're not attached to, because you're probably gonna have to throw it away. And it's always good to get down like on the actual level of the resin and just kind of fill in anywhere where you see where it might not be going all the way. All right. Now I have already taped this piece. Some people don't tape, they like the drips. There's a million different ways that you can tape. You can make a dam, you can just kind of dome it to the edge. This is just the way I prefer. I'll do another video later on getting a piece ready to be resined. And right now, I feel like everything is looking pretty equal. I've definitely got some bubbles coming up, but my resin is touching the side or it's dripping on the sides. So I know that everything is fully covered. Okay, so I'm going to take this stick, put it to the side. I've got resin on my gloves, so I'm going to take those off, because otherwise I'm going to be stuck with a torch that's very sticky. I'm going to hold this up. Little art resin torch. You can buy it on their website. I think you can even get it with like a starter kit. Super handy. And I'm just going to start lightly touching it and working my way to get the bubbles off. And you can see, like, as soon as the torch begins to touch the resin, the bubbles start to dissipate. And like I said, you have about 30 minutes to work with your piece. So I kind of like to go through just like one time all over, touch it with my torch. And then I like to wait a few minutes just so I can see what pops up. And I'm going to actually take the camera. Sorry about that. I'm gonna take it with me. And I'm gonna let you see up close how beautiful this piece is. You can really see just with the wet resin on it, how the colors just pop out. They're really vibrant. And it's just really fun to do. I'll do one quick shot. I'm gonna have to put this back up. And I'm doing a major no-no right now. You can hear the butane hissing, but I couldn't light the torch with one can. So I saw like just a couple little tiny bubbles pop up, and I'm just hitting everything again with the torch. Like I said, if you don't have a torch, you can always use a pen, like a pen needle, not a writing pen. And I'm just making sure nothing else is coming up. Also a tip for you girls that have long hair, I didn't pull mine back before the video. I probably should have. I have gotten my hair stuck in this before. I've had to cut it out. So you want to make sure anytime you're resining that your hair is pulled back. Also, you know, you have hair fall off all the time. I've seen hair in pieces. Pull your hair back. Wear clothes that you would do yard work in, or, you know, whatever your clothes are that you paint in. Resin, if it gets on cloth, it's not coming out. I have had times where I've gotten it on my skin, and the best thing that I've used to be able to just to kind of take it off quickly are alcohol wipes. And I just keep those handy. Anytime I'm resining something, if any of it touches my skin, I wipe it very quickly with the alcohol wipe, and that usually does the trick. You have to remember it's like a glue consistency. It's very, very sticky. So keep that in mind. You always want to have a drop cloth. For this piece, I just used a trash bag just because it's a small piece. If you had a large piece, one thing you could do would be use a piece of vinyl. You could use, I've used a shower curtain liner before. The little vinyl ones, you can buy them for like $2 or $3. Those are helpful. You can use a drop cloth, you can use a tarp, and a lot of the plastic type sheets, if the resin does get on it, you can actually peel it off or manipulate a way to get it off the next day. So that's always kind of a bonus. You can reuse it. I'm pretty much done. Like my bubbles, they're gone. I'm not really having any come up. I will babysit this piece for probably another 15-20 minutes, but because it is such a small piece, I'm not gonna have to work with it as much as I would if I were doing something larger. So I'm just going to leave you guys here. I'm gonna turn the camera around and just give you kind of a close-up again. And I really hope this video was informational for you. Any questions you can leave in the comment section, or you can DM me. I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to give you any additional instructions, or if you have any tips or ideas or things that you would like to see me do. I'm gonna do several different projects with the art resin just so you can get an idea of, I wanna do a wood panel, I wanna do a canvas, just different ways to use it and on different products and the results that you get. So I'll have some after photos. After this dries, I'm gonna wait 24 hours for it to fully cure. Now it will be not cured, but it'll be hard in about 8 hours. But I don't like to touch it. I've made a mistake of touching it, thinking it was hard, you know, trying to tear some tape off or something like that, and I've gotten little impressions. So I really like to wait for everything to fully cure, and I know that it'll do that in 24 hours. So I'm gonna babysit this for about 15 more minutes. When I'm done, I won't touch it or look at it for another 24 hours. I do have a little basket. It's kind of like a little mini laundry basket with the slits in the side. And I'll actually put it over the piece just to keep any dust from getting on the surface or any particles that you see in the air. I know my son calls them fuzzies. He sees fuzzies in the air all the time. It just helps protect, because anything that touches this surface for the next 8 hours is going to adhere to it because of that glue-like consistency. So you really want to keep your work protected, especially while it's drying. And this tape will be very easy to remove. If any of it does get stuck in the resin, I just use an X-Acto knife. I cut it out. It's never really been an issue for me. So I am looking forward to showing you the finished piece, and I'm looking forward to doing more videos. You're gonna have to kind of work with me. I'm not used to being in front of the camera. I feel a little silly, a little nervous. I'm generally camera shy. So I hope that as this journey of me doing these informational videos, I get better as well. So if you have any tips, let me know. Otherwise, you guys have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.